All right, Mitchy Slick, man. We got San Diego's own up in here. How you doing?
I'm good, homie. I'm alive, homie. You know, shit. Yeah, that.
That's what's up, man. Well, let's start off from the beginning. I like to try to get to know people better. I like to make it better, for the fans to get to know you a little bit better. For the people who don't know you, um, we know everybody knows you're from San Diego. Tell me a little bit about what life was like for you growing up there.
I grew up in an influential times, homie, where the crack era. I actually, for the youngsters, they probably don't really understand what that means growing up in that time, and we don't really look at it being in my generation as impactful as it was, because it was everyday life for us. But man, the world went crazy. When the world went crazy, and the poorest niggas on the block turned into the richest, and the richest turned into the poorest. When that type of shit was going on, is when I grew up. I grew up in the crack era, homie. When a lot of the main events that kind of like dictated how the street code is today, took place. Them late '80s and mid '80s was crazy. You know what I mean? So Southeast San Diego, we played football, heavy. You know what I'm saying, in the street. We threw rock, shot BB guns, did all the shit every other kid does. But just it was at that time when the shit was like really, forming into some other shit. Gang banging was at its highest peak of whatever it ever was, and drug dealing was at its highest peak of whatever it's ever been in the history of America. And I was a child of that.
And how old were you? Do you remember when
Yeah,
you
I was
remember
like
all
19
this?
years old, at them years when you learn everything. And that's when, 86, 87 was hitting around. I'm a little kid seeing, the homies really having money. It was, gang banging millionaires. That's when niggas was gang banging but was rich. Not rich and get out the hood and get clean, but when the people that had the money actually was still on the block. So I really, saw that time, when niggas was killing for money, not for just stupid shit like now. Not like killing is good, period, but it was about money during that time, and that's the difference between, then and now.
All right, so you're growing up. I mean, 8, 9 years old, man. That's really young to be exposed to all that, man. What are some of the defining moments that you remember, like back then, that like maybe shaped you as you were growing?
My mom and pops was young, having had their shit together. So I grew up in the my beginning years. I was living in an area called the Valencia Views. This ain't O'Farrell Park now. It's a blood neighborhood in San Diego, and my parents was younger than all the rest of the parents over there because they was so young buying these brand new houses. So all the kids over there was really older than me. You know what I mean? So I'd be outside playing with 10, 11 year olds when I'm 5 and 6 years old, and then I was a little advanced, you know what I mean? And so then when my parents split up, I moved, not too far away. It's not too far away where the climate changes, because I moved, a little bit further towards like more like the center of Southeast San Diego, off of Logan and by Lincoln and all that shit. And my mom used to have me fresh when I was a kid, fresh, you know what I'm saying? Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus and shit like that. And me being a little bit more advanced, it wasn't hard to tell that I was a sharp little dude, and I was a tough little dude socking up on, but even though I was doing all that shit, I was real clean. I have on the Argyle socks and shit with the the plaid sweater and shit. And I remember one day one of my older homies told me, my big homie Kenny Demon, I think he might have been in the 6th grade and I was in the 2nd grade or the 3rd grade, probably the 3rd grade. And he kneeled me down on the playground one day and he told me, he was like, maybe the 4th grade. He was like, "Little homie, check it out. You hard, you tough and all, you know what I'm saying? But homie, you gotta tell your mama to quit dressing you like that. Get your uniform right." Basically is what he was saying. I had on all these square clothes and shit, penny loafers and shit, Argyle socks and shit. And he was telling me, homie, you know, that was one of the first moments when I basically was told by another kid that I have to dress different. So I'm just thinking as I got older, from my mom's perspective, like you teaching your kid to do right, feeding him right, grooming him right, lacing him right on his, you know, teaching him, educating him. You send him to school in the morning thinking you're doing the right thing. And then when your 9 or 10-year-old son get to school, it's an older kid, you know what I'm saying, 12, 13-year-old kid telling your son not to dress like this and to dress like that. And that's crazy because I remember I had not signed up, but you get to be the class president or be on the student council. You know, the kids vote for you. And it's basically a popularity contest at that time. I didn't really care about being the president or vice president, but I was in the 5th grade and I won. And I didn't even want to do that. And so then I remember one day I'm walking after the homie done told me to dress different. And one of the counselors at the school said, you know what, little Charles, now that you're vice president, you might want to stop wearing your hair like that. And I had the French braids, you know, the straight back braids with the hairnet on, the golfer hat. I had the Pendleton, Levi's, Chuck Taylors folded, LP, 50s on the tongue. This in the 5th grade, you know what I'm saying? And this is before like it was real gang intervention. So the teachers didn't know what the fuck was going on. So we gang banging at school, you know what I'm saying? Like a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Flagging and everything. But this is when it's still kind of like new, you know what I'm saying? Not new, but I'm saying like, it wasn't until 15 years in till it started being real gang intervention and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. This teacher told me to change my hair and don't dress like that no more. And then I remember the next year I won president without even really wanting to be I won president. And I was so tied into the homies that I just didn't do it just cause that wasn't being from the gang, doing all that good shit like that. And I just think back how fucked up that was. To be in an environment like that. I was an only child, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't go against the grain. I couldn't tell my mama or no shit like that. So I rode the line of listening to my mama and listening to the homies and staying true and staying on, you know, on the narrative where I didn't fuck up nothing at school, but I didn't fuck up nothing with the homies. And that's kind of how I got my whole demeanor, how I became Slick, you know what I'm saying? How I got the name Slick.
So you were kind of like conflicted of, you know, kind of at that point, which way you were going to go, but you were already...
No choice. It wasn't no choice. You already going this way, but it's just like my mama and them wasn't with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't look or act or do none of that shit like a gangbanger coming in my house as a young cat. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, but at the same time, my gang shit wasn't about being bad or fucking up. It was just about, you know, surviving basically. Cause growing up as an only child in my neighborhood, that's tricky. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no brothers or no older relatives to go get or nothing like that. So I had to figure out a way to make it and survive. And that's what folks don't understand, homie. Like I got a song called No Choice, and that's what I be basically saying to the police. Like if you was in our situation, you would do the same thing we was doing. It's about survival. You know what I mean? Shit happened at school. You can't go tell your mama. You can't even come to school tomorrow with that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out a way to get in where you fit in. And for me, that's where being from the neighborhood came in at. Not necessarily want to be bad and fuck up shit, because I never got in no trouble in school or no shit like that. It was just to be a part of the gang. So when shit got violent and got active, I had somebody that was with me, and it was getting active early.
So you're growing up in this environment, and it's all around you. At what point did you actually become a gang member? How early was it?
See, it's like some it's different ways to get in. Some people is in by choice. Some people is in just by affiliation. Some people is born in. My situation wasn't a situation of where I turned because of my parents wasn't teaching me right or I was fucked up. It just came from me being popular in my neighborhood. It started off with Pop Warner football. You know what I'm saying? That camaraderie is serious. Like I said before, we play football in my city. So everything in San Diego is based around football first. So just that neighborhood got their football team. This neighborhood got our football team. Coincidentally, that neighborhood's Pop Warner football team is the color of their gang. And our Pop Warner football team is the color of my high school and my gang. My neighborhood is green. My mama been in the stand saying go big green since I was 8 years old. So having pride for this color didn't come from being from the gang. You feel what I'm saying? So these cats on the other side, the other team, them not liking me, shit. At 9, y'all don't like each other on the football field. But at 15, you know, you don't have to say I'm gang banging and I want to be a gang member to be involved in some type of gang activity. All you got to do is have his girlfriend like you. And now you over here talking about I'm trying to go to school and play football. And this a motherfucker that done quit playing football. He want to gang bang now. Y'all getting into it over the girl, not over the gang. We see each other at the skating rink. I whoop his ass. His homies ain't gonna watch that. They jump on me. The homies that I grew up next door to and play football with, I can't say whether they gang members or not. I'm not gonna stop hanging with him because from age 12 to 13, he decided to be from football player to gang member. He's my homie. We at the skating rink. I get in, his homies jump on me, they homies jump on me. No matter what I say at that point, I'm from the gang. You feel me? I'm from the neighborhood, straight up. That's how I go. Shit. I was in day one, shit, without even involuntarily. You feel me?